Back to the Supra Cup part 2, let's call it that. And yeah, the game decided to not let us finish qualifying, finish watching qualifying. So we had to go out by ourselves, we had to stop the stream, and now we're back for the race of the first slot of the GR Supra GT Cup Round 5 in 2020. So 11 lap race, 13 times tyre wear, 3 times fuel wear, and it's a standing start with a full start check. So being very quick on the throttle when the lights go up, that's very important. Using traction control is very key as well. And yeah, just waiting for the race to load. We'll have a look at the starting grid of all 19 drivers, I believe, for this race. So coming onto the grid, I see myself there in first position with the red Supra, Makozi Racing livery, of course. We've got Matt in second, Amazing Hour in third, as mentioned in the previous part. And right behind him we've got Fast Phil. He did a very fast time in time trial. Ryan F, fifth. Then Dylan Lindgren starting a little bit lower than we're used to seeing him, down in 6th. Got Viper Z in 7th. Iron Mask in 8th, with that interesting little livery there. White to green transition. Captain Muffin, with what I believe is a homage to the Toyota GD1. Corey Hack in 10th. Range Rose as always with his black and white livery down in 11th. Then in 12th we've got a pace car in the form of a GTP Legend. And Tuning and Kiwi in 13th. St. Nicol in 14th, and then behind him in the stock blue Supra we've got Aramis. Then Rosmo in 16th. Very regular contender here in the top split lobbies. And Mad Max in 17th. Then behind him we've got Your Rocket with that classic Toyota Racing development livery. And then Bob Hopkins rounding out the field in 19th place. So this race was really all about saving tyres, getting off the line nice and quickly, and not wasting too much time if you're going for an overtake. So I started in second gear. I think that was okay. Perhaps it was a bit of a mistake from my part that I shifted a bit too early from second to third. So let's just see that real quick. See, I'm in second gear. Lights go up. See, change a little bit too early from second to third. And just wiggling the car a little bit to get some heat into the tyres. But coming into turn 1, you can see there Matt, he got a very decent start. And he's just going to take the lead away from us and do what he can to run away with it. Amazing how he's a consolidated third. Brian and Fast Phil staying pretty much where they have been the rest of the time. And this race, like the start of it at least, was a bit more, how do you say, calm than we're used to seeing in FI races and the like. In the fact that everyone wasn't trying to overtake each other as much as just trying to save the tyres. So whatever overtaking happened, it happened in the first 200 meters or so. Then everyone's pretty much just slotted back into their spot and got on with the race. Evening, mate. How are you? Hey, Andrew. Welcome. I'm fine, thanks. How are you? I'm great, like as I am. Maybe the stream aspect of it not too great because game quitted on us in the first half of the stream, so we had to stop and restart. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well, thanks. Hey, Italian Stallion, welcome. So at this point, we've got a mirror full of Amazing Hour, who's in the chat there, and we're chasing down Matt, who's currently leading the race. You see there's a small queue of cars starting to form behind us. If we have a look in the rear view mirror, you can see that Brian and Fastfill, that fluorescent green, standing out in the background. Yeah, at this point, just working the wheel as smoothly as we can. Brake balance on plus on 0, my apologies, and then going to transition that to +1 the deeper we get into the race. Not too bad, still slightly annoyed with the end result. Oh, amazing. You mean first race? Where'd you come? I think you came third. This isn't good enough to stay with you and Matt when highway kicks in. Well, I don't know what to say. You got from what I've seen what you've said before, you've gotten a new wheel for Fanatec. So that should help a bit more than the G29 that you previously had, a bit more, say, top end. But I think, like, the real reason that you're losing a lot of tyre wear and time in the race is brake by 0. Yes, James, brake by 0. That's what I'm using. But the reason why you're losing the tyre wear so much is because of the wheel. I think at this point. Hey, B Racer, welcome. I'll get back to Amazing. I just want to say quickly to B Racer, congratulations yesterday on the win in manufacturers in your top 16. I was watching your stream, and that was a very impressive drive. The fact that you were saving so much fuel and staying calm and not making any mistakes, that was a very, very commanding drive from yourself. So you should be proud of that, and well done. Anyhow, back to Amazing. I think the tyre wear, the reason why you're now losing on tyre wear is because of the wheel. Almost every single driver that I know in top split, apart from yourself, that's always up towards the sharp end of the field, they're using TGTs. So the TGT, it works in a way that it gives you a third layer of feedback. Like, you can imagine all the other wheels in Gran Turismo Sport have 2 dimensions of feedback. The TGT gives you that third dimension. It really helps you sense how the car is interacting with the road, and that helps you find the limit of the grip of tires, and it knows exactly how much you need to push, how much you need to take off. So I'd say that maybe it's 95% down to the wheel. The other 5% would be a little bit more finesse in your driving, but it's now really just down to wheels. Wheels give you an advantage at this point. Oh, thank you, Cody. Yeah, I had to crazy fuel save. Gotta love the yes, B-Race, exactly. I really love Nürburgring. I love that track. It's my favorite circuit alongside Spa and Le Sarthe. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to drive on. And looking at how you were controlling your car, it looks like you had a really good time as well. So at this point, lap 4. We got the fastest lap of the race, a 47.279. Interesting enough, I did not. This was not the fastest time I did in both slots. Both slots I did a 47.1 in that second race. So I was pushing a little bit harder in that second slot. It came back to bite me more in deeper in the stint. Still, the result was still very satisfying. I just need to find more pace and more exactly amazing out, but also it's coming down to the wheel. It's also those small 1%ers that are true, that come into the driving, but there's just some benefits that you can experience with one wheel that you can't get with another. Again, that also varies game to game, so you need to get something that's a good all-rounder, and I think the one that you've got, the Fanatec that you mentioned, I think that's just fine for an all-round sim racing experience. the most since the past GTs. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on that track, especially the 24-hour layout, and yeah, I'm a very very big fan of it. Talking about the manufacturer series race that we did yesterday, I mean you, myself, in our respective regions. I looked at your total time, and I was very surprised that you fuel saved as much as you did. I thought you were going to be pushing harder because you're very fast on a single lap with the Honda, and you've got that bit of a maneuverability advantage with the MR drivetrain. But in the end, your total time, the race winning time, was actually 3 seconds slower than what I did in my top 16. So I was a bit surprised by that. I guess it was all down to that first lap when you were fuel saving by yourself. And I was kind of expecting some other guys to push a little bit harder to overtake you on the back straight, or any part of the track for that case. Yeah, it just shows how different approaches to driving can still yield the same result, but they might not be quite as fast on a raw pace. Because I wanted to save more fuel as well, but I knew that I could save much more fuel than the others. Yeah, that's the Honda NSX for you. That's VTEC in a nutshell. Yeah, lap 5, we pulled away a bit from Amazing Hour. Let's have a look at the tyre wear now. Somewhere close to the midpoint of the race. So these are my tyres. You can see Amazing Hours is starting to drop off a little bit. It's not too much. It's just a very small difference. Matt is also pretty much on the same level as Amazing Hour at this point. So we're doing good with tyres, and that just lets us push a little bit harder. Viper Z got a bit more front tyre wear. Range Ross, I think, was one of the better drivers on tyre, but it seems at this point he's still on the same level as you. So moving on, we're chasing down Matt. He managed to pull away in the first 2 laps, I think. But as you can see, we've used a bit of the slipstream. We're starting to catch up, and he's falling back into our clutches, so we can start thinking about going for a move or two. Mind games. Yeah, B-Ray, I mean, when they, when I was watching your stream after you pitted in at the end of the second lap, and I saw you had 34 litres left. The only person that was, the only other driver that came close was Bon Baguette Baptiste, and he had 32, so that's 2 whole litres of fuel that he used more, and he was in the slipstream for the entire 2 laps. You had a 0 slipstream for the first lap, then I had to push a little bit harder to keep up with Rick in the Toyota. So phenomenal fuel saving by you. A lot of very good fuel management, playing with the fuel map and all that. The one thing I'm surprised by in your driving is you change the view a lot. You look back very often, so I was surprised how that didn't affect your performance in driving. Yeah, like on one straight you're looking back 5 times, and I was really, really surprised by that. But still, really good driving by you, and once again, congratulations on the good result. I cause epilepsy. Yeah, I was mentioning that during the stream to another person. I was like, that's got to be causing epilepsy. So yeah, I thought maybe you had the radar on, or you're looking at the time difference there on the top left where the positions are. But no, you're just pressing the look back button like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, it's just interesting how it works. But whatever suits you best, that's obviously the fastest. So you can see we're really starting to close up on Matt now. He's going a little bit deep into turn 1. His tyres probably are starting to suffer a little bit. Let's have a look at his. So yeah, you can see his fronts are a bit more noticeably worse. Amazing how's his tyres doing? So you can see now, amazing how his tyres are a little bit worse than Matt. A lap ago, a lap and a half ago, he was on the same level as Matt, and that's probably where the wheel is starting to come into effect. When you have higher amounts of grip and tyre life, it's very similar. But once the tyre wear starts kicking in and you need to start feeling the car more and you need to sense it better, then that's when I would say probably the TGT gives you a bit of an edge compared to other wheels. Q1 does that too. Yeah, I noticed, Ranger. I mean, it's a bit not confusing for the viewer, let's say, but I can't find a word that wouldn't sound nice. It just doesn't look that great. Let's say in the terms of a viewer. For a driver, obviously, it has different pros and cons. Yeah, whatever works, that's obviously fine. It's great to see that it's working for some guys. It's okay, Bruce. I sound the same way with him. Welcome, Dodge Lamb. Welcome. I did not practice manufacturers and I paid the price with the grid start. What do you mean by that, Dodge Lamb? I'm guessing there was some sort of bug or something in the manufacturers? I'm fine, thanks. Fine, thanks, Daniel. Welcome. Hope you're doing well too. So you can see we're going on the outside of Matt. We're finally trying to get some sort of move done. He goes on the defensive to counter-attack our approach. You see that brakes a little bit early. He's going to hold the inside. We brake a bit late, going side by side. We can't quite hold it through there. It's not very easy to do that, to go on the outside of turn 1, the center chicane. So we pull off. We try and get a better exit through the second half, and maybe think about a move coming into turn 4, but we're not quite close enough. At this point, we're just going to stay behind Matt, still save tyres a little bit more, and wait for our opportunity to go for some sort of move. So we actually get next to him at this point. We take away his ability to use the racing line. That's going to compromise his speed a bit, so we're trying to find a way through. It's not really working at this point. I could go for a dive down here, but I don't, because might end up with a bit of contact if he turns in, and it might result in a penalty if we're not careful. NA Grid got stuck at the start. Grid start glitch. NZ had a connection issue and thus he got everyone behind him stuck. I wonder if they were broadcast. That was pretty amateur. It was like P7, P8. That was a lot of people that got... Oh my! That doesn't sound very pleasant for everyone that's behind. Must have had to make a lot of... They had to work very hard to probably catch up to the leading pack. So there you go. I think that's also happened in our region a couple of times as well. I know B-Racer, his Supra Cup that he did at Laguna Seca, that happened to him as well, for some reason. You can see we're going for another pass on Matt here, trying to force him into a mistake. See, it's not working just yet, but if I go back now, so like this, go back into the turn 1. This was different than the first time round. So I wasn't quite side by side with him at this point. I was a little bit further back. I could pull off. I could get a cut back on the first half of the chicane and really maximize my exit here. And you can see I'm a lot closer than last lap round. So closing onto the back of Matt, he's gonna go to the inside to defend. I'm gonna hold him to the left. I'm not gonna let him go back a bit more to the racing line. Then I come back onto the right to optimize my braking. Misses the corner ever so slightly, and now I've got a better run than him coming out of that turn 4. So I managed to just get in front of him, I pull onto the inside to fortify the position. And this is pretty much the same of what happened in the top 16 manufacturers for me in at Spa. So I get a better exit, I've got a bit more speed, but you can see I'm still not quite in front of him with my car. I have to keep going, so a couple of more seconds. And once I get in front of him, so you can see there I'm in front now, I pull to the right to immediately defend. So that's one way of going about safeguarding the position. And you can see that's worked quite nicely for us there, and we've jumped up to first. Yeah, B-race. I noticed. I remember that. That was a very unfortunate part. Ended up starting me 20 seconds off the leader. Wow, that is a lot. Well, unhappy though. I didn't practice, so it was my fault. Well, Supra has always been quite strong at Nürburgring. So if you're starting somewhere P8, P9, then you probably didn't have quite the best qualifying lap. So what kind of time did you get? What wheel do you run to cheat? Well, you guys have probably seen the Nations Cup weekly, so probably noticed it from there. I use one of the top wheels. Let's say that. I can't say the name because I'm not sponsored by a wheel producer, and me saying their name would just give them free advertising. And me being in trouble, maybe, never know. They could always just bring out a lawsuit or sue me at any given point in time, so I don't want that to happen. I very much like to keep what money I have. But yeah, one of the better wheels out there. I mentioned the TGT because I know I've tried it and I know what kind of advantage it gives. I've tried the Fanatec as well, I've tried the Logitech, I've tried pretty much all the wheels that you would usually see drivers use for GT Sport. Yeah, in my house there's been more than 10 wheels come through our hands. There are still 10 wheels actually, so probably a bit more than that. But we've had wheels since the PlayStation 2 era, so there's a lot of wheels, a lot of experience, a lot of testing, seeing what can do what. Yeah, I'm just using the one that I feel most comfortable with right now. Yeah, thank you, B-Racer, thank you, Amazing Al, thank you, Lamb. I was really trying to get in front of Matt, but I wanted to have a good race with him, so that was nice. Enjoyed that thoroughly. It was great to get that kind of move done. I did 8:10 in quali and then was on it. Whoa, okay, well, Lamb, 8:10 in a Subaru is a little bit underwhelming, just a little bit, but I can see what you mean because of no practice, so fair enough. Go back and watch the video again. Yep, you got it, Twitchy. Make sure to check out the Gran Turismo Sport TV YouTube channel, and you can probably recognize it from there. Got what I wanted, which was the Nations Cup video. I could have DC'd from Mario and I would still been happy. Well, congratulations on the win, Dodge Lamb. You probably found a really good setup. Working with DevSun, because you guys are both in the same team. I saw you guys actually in the lobby together, so you're probably working on a good setup. So well done to that. I respect guys who can find a good setup and even work with teammates to do that. Nations suck because of my cheap and rusty setup, while other people bought it for 50. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday, Valerio. So yeah, that was a bit of a scandal, let's say, for Europe, if anything. Europe in top 16. The race itself was a little bit interesting. I was watching it from Coco's perspective, and the start when Baguette or Baptiste, when he got that 2-second penalty from Fire, that was very surprising. I think Fire should have been the one to blame because he braked very late into that corner. Yeah, he made an amazing comeback. He came back to get P2 after dropping somewhere like 6th or 7th. 8 whole seconds of a deficit. Considering also he got held up afterwards at the start. So end of the race, we managed to win after making a very, very controlled and well-timed pass from Matt. He comes home in 2nd. Amazing Hour, who apparently did struggle a little bit with tyre. We'll have a look at that at the end of the race. He comes home in 3rd. We've got Brian in 4th, Vipers in 5th, not too far behind them. We've got Range Ross in 6th, who also managed to get some sort of move done at the start of his lap. Let's have the last lap. So you can see Iron Mask, he has a 3-second penalty contact. Range Ross is falling past Phil. See the Iron Mask, he's going to the left to get rid of that penalty there, to slow down. And Range Ross, he brakes very deep into turn 4. Fastful goes on the inside. He's trying to go on the counter offensive. It's working ever so slightly, but Ranger is still there. So Ranger's not too happy with that little bit of a nudge. He gives him a flash with the lights, goes back on the inside, and he leaves his mark and takes 6th position. So that was a bold move from Ranger. Very late braking, then holds it on the inside, going into Juncal. So very good job by him. To be honest, be very surprised Coque didn't just give it to you. That's the power of teammates. Yeah, I was surprised too that Coque didn't help out B-Racer, because perhaps it was team orders, but B-Racer was in a very good position to win the championship. Sorry, not to win, to win stage 2, let's say, if he had the setup and if he had the pace. So he could have put up a challenge to Baptiste, but in the end he just got, let's say, let down by the car, and wasn't able to perform quite as he wanted to. So you can see there Dylan giving a little bit of a spin at the end, and GTP Legend crossing the line in 10th. So we'll look at the tyre wear now. I'll come back to the chat in just a moment. This is how it is after the end of the race. So go to when I've finished. These are my tyres. These are Matt's tyres after he was leading for about 7 laps, or 8 I think. And these are Amazing Hours tyres. So I have this, Matt has that. Amazing Hours that. The thing, I think, the reason why Matt had a worse front tyre wear was because of the brake balance. He probably set it a bit more to the front. He was braking very late on some occasions, and he was trying to push a lot at the start of the race to get away. He couldn't do that because I was still keeping up with the slipstream. Amazing Hour, you can see his rears are a little bit worse compared to Matt. I suspect that he had a little bit less of a brake balance, probably closer to neutral, and he just stabbed the throttle a little bit harder than, for example, for myself or Matt. The front tires, again, that's down to the wheel, I would say, very much so. There are cases when probably, like, just go to the last corner here. One click to the rear. Okay, there you go. So you can see, in cases like this, Amazing Hour, he's at full lock. Let's go to me. Just want to see if I have full lock into the last corner. So you can see I have full lock as well, so I was probably pushing a bit harder towards the end. Amazing question, AMG Shark. You probably already know the answer. You could always ask some of the other people if they've gotten a prize or not. So yeah, I'd call it down to maybe pushing the car a bit harder at the start, but then again, you weren't actually keeping up. So part wheel, maybe part driving style. That's what I'd call it down to. Okay, so we did the second slot. I'll just put that on to go in the background while I look at the chat here. And I'll go a bit faster through it. I won't stop or anything. It's just let you guys watch it. Wanted to be paid with discount versus as Williams didn't for us all, so he paid all for himself. But I mean, you could have shared it. Yeah, he could have. Well done, the win. Thank you, Amazing Al. How odd. I don't know. We're very liberal with sharing our tune. Yeah, I think some teams are a bit more, how do you say, cooperative than others. I haven't been there, so I don't know. But just looking from the outside, I get that impression, just on the surface. I know what I didn't get. Should have short shifted in a few, but yeah, amazing. I mean, there are some corners where you could carry a bit more speed in a higher gear. So let's say turn 6 before Juncal, the long right hander that goes uphill. If you stay in 5th gear, there isn't quite as much engine braking, and the car doesn't have to struggle or stress its tires as much to make it through there. So you could have. That's one place. The sector 2, for the most part, if you go in a higher gear and if you stay there, it helps a lot. Yeah. Gotta love the GDS shenanigans. Yeah, Fusion. I mean. Yeah, I talked about this yesterday. Like the other top 16s, they didn't even happen. But I assumed that what happened yesterday was going to eventually occur, and it did. So it's a bit of a shame to see that happen, but fair enough. So race 2, I'm just going to let it play in the background here. See there, Panmac, Rosmo, and Unemployed Stoney. They're all fighting for P2. This was the second slot. The points were really not great, so about 50 points or so less. Dylan, who was maybe one of the few drivers that might have been able to provide a bit of a competition, he actually left during warm-up, so I don't know, maybe he got disconnected, maybe he just saw the points and decided it's not really worth any effort. Yeah, coming back to this race, it was pretty much just us by ourselves. Mileage points. Yeah, not much lamb in terms of those sort of prizes. This looks like it would not have been worth many. Yeah, Ranger, you are completely correct. This was worth how much? 220 something points. We'll have a look at the points afterwards. And we'll also check how many people are not participating lately in this series, so we can get a sort of a feeling with who's doing what and who's being active on Gran Turismo Sport. Yeah, and also top 16 America, GDS plebbing it again. Yeah, manufacturers, from what I hear. So it doesn't sound like that went too well at the start. I mean, Lamb. I hope there wasn't any kind of random penalties in the nations for the top 16. I trust there weren't any, but after watching Europe yesterday, I'm not sure what to expect anymore. I have to expect the unexpected, so I'm just curious if there were any penalties of some sort there. Oh, and I also had a look at another driver. They showed me something. They got a small tap during their race, like coming to this last corner basically. They gave the other guy in front the smallest of taps in the Supra Cup, and they got a 4-second penalty for that. There was no damage. The guy in front did not lose any time. If anything, the guy behind lost time, the driver who showed me it, and they got 4 seconds. A 4-second slowdown penalty for something like that, and that's that ruined their race basically. But that's something that needs to really be addressed. It's starting to come back to how it was in the very first race of the now exhibition season. It was supposed to be the first stage, but back in that race, it's starting to the penalty system is starting to look like it used to be. Maybe the system is evolving by itself, but we don't know. But Skynet is invading GD Sport. I don't know. Somehow it's taking us back in time to February or March. We've got the Terminator, aka the GD Sport penalty system, out to get us. So yeah, this needs to be fixed ASAP. Both in areas. So everyone in the nation's race died except for Defi and oh, there you go. That's more than I thought. Not a great turnout tonight though. Yeah, I agree, Ranger. Both the NA races were tragic, and it makes me feel my only nation's win will get skipped. What do you mean we'll get skipped? I mean like they'll just call it down to the fact that whoever didn't have a penalty win won. Something like that, but like, don't worry about it, Lamb. If you won that race, you deserved it. You worked with the Defi with making a setup. You guys came out on top. You were careful. Probably didn't have any contact, and that's the important thing. And it will get better by the looks of the next stage. Lago Maggiore GP in reverse. Yeah, that track suits Honda, but from experience, Maggiore has been the place of many a scandal, specifically in the F1 Championship, so you never know. PS fix this game, it is getting too much, actually laugh. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't go to the point of laughable, Fusion, but they need to have a look at it. They need to see what's going on, and then need to put some love into it to maybe get it back to what it used to be in terms of penalty system. If anything, BOP has always has been a problem. Slipstream has always been a bit of a problem too. Dirty air and all that, but yeah, we'll see. There's still plenty of time left in the year. You never know. GD7 might be everything that GD Sport was meant to be and more. We can only hope. We'll see. 7 is a good number. It's a lucky number. We can only hope. But yeah. There were a ton. Turn 1 was absolutely horrendous. We played bowling in turn 1 and it certainly caused damage. Wow, okay. Nation's race was horrendous. After I must me the turn 2 wall, my race was ruined. Well, sorry to hear that, Shark. Yeah, that doesn't sound too pleasant. Yeah, people can punt you down in frost elbow to Narnia and not get a penalty. Yeah. Oh yeah, Bathurst. Let's not talk about that, Fusion. Let's just go some other track where there's a bit more space to race on. So, if you're behind someone in Bathurst and you brake just a little bit later, or they brake very early, there's no way you can go. And it's obviously something is going to happen that you're not gonna like, or the other person. Either way, it's not many happy thoughts racing on that track very closely. I missed that exhibition actually. Would have gone to World Tour if that one. Yeah, Ranger. I mean, when I saw McEwen go to Alpha, and I remember you pulled off for a race or two to see who you chose what, and when you went to Alpha, I was thinking, no, that's it. You're not No offense, you're very fast, but McEwen is a bit more of a complete driver. Got a little bit better race pace, I'd say, and I knew you're gonna have to fight very hard, very very hard if you want to make it. Yeah, I'm concerned that the penalty system has now taken the back seat and won't be dealt with more so refined in GT7. I mean that PD won't get it broad. Oh, okay, so that's what you meant about. I'd say so, Lamb. I mean, in Europe they had that top 16 at Nürburgring. Baptiste got a 2-second penalty for Rodriguez braking very late into turn 1, and they broadcast that. So I'd say they will. I think they at least owe it to the guys that put everything to do the races, and they spent the effort to get the setup. Pretty sure it won't. Both races are a travesty. They could always just focus on the front half of the grid, let's say, for manufacturers. They don't look at the back part until the race starts, and the field crosses like part of the GP circuit. Then they would say, oh, it's close and fighting and whatnot. They'll find a way to somehow mask it a bit better. They always do. They're probably pre-recording it. They're going through the race. They're seeing what angles would suit it best, and they'll just figure it out to the end and scalp it and take some pieces off that they don't want people to see. You never know. Spinella in like a macho. Fusion. At least it's better than at least it's an MR car. You have some sort of a chance at that track. The manufacturer of the Series Tank Master forced me off onto the grass, and I couldn't stop my car and accidentally ran into him. But I get a 2-second penalty. He doesn't, and get an SR down. I'm not sure. I don't think you can see if the other guy got an SR down. Maybe you asked him, but it's very hard to determine who gets the SR down. I generally believe that both of them get an SR down. Both drivers in an instant get that, but that still hasn't been proven yet. So further down the field, we've pulled a bit of a gap to the guys in front. So about 12 seconds. We're on lap 6. It's around 2 seconds a lap. Nick Mannikin, he's found his way in front of this field. Panamac has fallen down quite a fair bit. Looks like he had to serve a penalty. Bob Sport, unemployed Stoney there. He's got a track limit infringement. So does Rosmo. Corey Hack, he's going to get himself promoted into P3. To say, but EMEA is a bit more important than us, to be fair. Which I can say is, what I can say is, watch Windfire stream later if you want to laugh. That lap 1 is an adventure. Oh, I might check it out if I have some free time. We'll see. Just depends. Slipstream, the BOP, the disconnects, the game freezing randomly when you want to enter FI, the SR and DR dropping while having done nothing wrong. These factors start to add up. The 1%ers. Yeah. It's very easy to lose drive rating. It's extremely difficult to build it up. So that's maybe another thing that you can add on. When you, like for example, I lost so much driver rating back when I was doing the Nations Cup weekly. When I was recording that, I didn't have anything else connected to the internet, and I got disconnected 2 times in a row, and I lost a very big chunk of driver rating. So when the game sees that it's a disconnect, that the person couldn't have done anything about it, maybe they need to put the penalty a little bit lower, but you never. Yeah, maybe the game can't quite see I only sat races out when I was getting disconnected. Otherwise, I try to do every round. Yeah, fair enough, Ranger. I mean, when you had the problems with disconnecting so many times, it was only fair and just that you tried and found a solution, and you did. So just preserve your DR, then come back and build it back up again. Anyways, let's not get to, Fusion, let's not go to the... I have this problem with GD Sport. It has so many issues, but I just love playing it. It feels the most fun to drive. Yeah, I would agree. It's one of these games that, I don't know, has this spark to it. I can't quite describe it. The way the cars control is... like, it's not as fragile as the other sim racing games. So, Assetto Corsa or Project Cars and all that. The cars by themselves, even if you're not going that fast, they feel like they're on a knife edge already. Gran Turismo Sport for this matter, you have to push the car. You need to get it to the limit, then you'll start feeling it getting on that balancing rub, on the knife edge as they call it, of the limit of performance. The Project Cars, for example, you had to do a lot of counter steering just to get closer to a quick pace. Well, about to do the same myself. Yeah. Good night, Shark. Good night. Oh, Lamb, if you're still here, sorry. Good night, Shark. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll see you soon in Top Split one day. Hey, welcome, Michael. I saw that you lost 5,000 DR. That was a big knock to my gyro rating. Got too much DR drops, but SR drops, and one slight tap you get SR down. Couldn't do FI. Because I'd race D players and I get like 70 points. All I can say is qualify in front, run away with it, use the strategy that gets you outside of the dirty air outside of traffic for the first half of the race, and then do whatever you can for the rest. And become invisible. Just try and get whatever's in your rear view mirror out of the way as fast as you possibly can. So go fast. Just simply go fast. That's the solution. Stay away from trouble and go fast. Ranger, I thought at some point you just stopped playing because of the disconnect. Yeah, I thought so for one point as well, Lam. But yeah, the persistence that Ranger has, my hat's off to you, Ranger, that you've stuck around and you've still managed to get through it all, and you've come out on top, let's say, from the disconnects, and now you're driving regularly in these top split lobbies, which is good to see. It's my person would have done. Unfortunately, I'm an addict, yeah, like many of us. GS feels good to drive, not too arcadey or not too sim. ACC is good, but the force feedback is way too... Yeah, I agree with you, Fusion. I tried Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PS4 with the wheel I have. And I was like, whoa, 30 frames per second, this is... I cannot drive this at the very start, but I had to get used to it. The force feedback, there's a lot of input lag, so I turn the wheel, and about 0.1 to 0.2 seconds later, the wheel in the game starts turning. So that was a deal breaker for me. I didn't really enjoy it that much when I found that was what was happening. And the force feedback delay as well was not enjoyable to experience. Maybe the wheel needs updating, I don't know, but I think that this might be a common problem. You never know. I remember trying ACC out on a laptop, on a PC, and it was great. But yeah. Alright, I do think it's sleep time for me. Take care and stay safe. And as always, thank you for the stream. No problem, Lam. Thanks you for coming in. Thank you for tuning in. Sweet dreams, and congratulations again on winning Nations. Hopefully I'll see you in the lobby sometime soon. All the best. if I, for that reason, would work now, but what's the point? Yeah. She was fixed up for a game update. I even went as far as looking for another ISP to try. Whoa. Well, you were a man on a mission, Angel. Let's say that. Very focused on trying to fix the problem. I'm glad it's fixed now. It's going around Fuji outside turn 3. They just run you off on a ram. I hope, man. Yeah, I hope so too. When I watched some regions when they do their races outside of Oceania, I'm very surprised not surprised. I'm a little bit disappointed to see the measures that some drivers go to defend a position or to gain a place. And the moves that they go for, or the tactics that they use to defend, are just too severe. You don't see that in real life. And there's a point where yes, you can defend, or yes, you can go from so far back and go for a pass, but they need to know when enough is enough. And general racing etiquette for all of the regions needs to be reinforced a bit more. I'm not saying there is one region that's better than the other in terms of clean driving. Everyone has that group of drivers that is a little bit rougher than the others. But everyone needs to they need to look back through the sportsmanship videos. They need to realize the consequences and all that. If they just focus on driving, having a nice clean race, having a bit of fun, they'll find the experience a lot more enjoyable. I'd promote that sort of experience a lot more than when you compare it to what's going on sometimes in some races. Strategy, please, PD. Thank you. Yeah. You don't want to know. I know. I watch because I want to see how my teammates are doing for manufacturers. So I pay attention to what's going on, and some of the moves that are happening are shouldn't happen. Simple as that. So we win that race. I think it was about 20 odd seconds in front. You can see Nick Mack, he just holds off from Rosmo there in third, Corey Hack in fourth, Joe Rocket in fifth, and Palmac I think recovered a little bit there from seventh. He still drops down from second place. Bob Sport in seventh, Nicholas Stoney in eighth, Honorably Airborne in ninth, and All in My Blood in 10th. The rest of the field just filtering through over the finish line. And that was the second slot of the day. The second and the last slot, to be fair. So, I'm going to go to the points. We'll see. First have a look at the points, then we'll see what kind of participation we've been having recently in this Supra GT Cup. So, something for you guys to note is that from round 5 onwards, you'll have 3 rounds tallied, because half of the rounds count. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. They round that up, obviously, when it's 0.5, so you get 3. So our points for that second race were really not good. We won. We got 226. If we sticked with the 270 something that we got, maybe if there were 4 rounds that counted, it would have contributed. But at this point, I was just having a bit more fun. Yeah, guys who have come second and third in my race, they have a bit more points than me now. So amazing how you can see he came third, and he got 249, which is an improvement. Mint Matt, he came second, so I'm guessing it's somewhere around 250 to 60. Yeah. So where's he at? I think he only did 1 race, so he's a little bit further down. He's not my friend, so yeah, he would be improving a lot as well. See, Makozi Academic there on 52nd, almost within the top 50. But yeah, let's have a look at the participation. So count round 4 because round 5 results aren't quite out yet. Round 3 and 4. So Adam didn't do the last 2 rounds. Emery didn't do round 4. Noodles didn't do round 3. So you can see that there are a lot of people that are doing it. There are a lot of people that aren't doing it. There's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoa, DB not doing even a second race. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We'll go to 100. 21, 22, 23, 24, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is a third of the guys that you usually see racing in this cup are haven't not done the last race. That is that's a bit worrying. A third of the drivers have not, let's say a third of the drivers haven't done the last race. A quarter of them or a fifth of them haven't done the last 2 races. So this series probably has lost a bit of interest from some of the drivers. It's a shame to see. But 2 more rounds. Yeah, 2 more rounds and it will be over. But that's a big shame, seeing that the participation isn't quite as much as we want to see. That way we could have a bit more competition. We can enjoy racing a bit more, but that just isn't the case. So next round, which is going to be in 2 weeks' time, is at Tokyo Expressway, the South Inner Loop. No dash chicane of this variant. Tyre is on times 13, fuel is on times 3, just like this last round. Sports hard tyres, 8 laps. Race distance is about the same, so you should be able to go for a no stop. The pit is very short from experience, but I think guys will be opting to go for a no stop. We'll have a look in 2 weeks' time. We'll see what happens. Anyhow, we're gonna start ending it there, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a little bit of a shorter or longer stream in comparison to the top 16s. Shorter in comparison to that, longer in comparison to the usual Supra Cups that I do. I just thought I should show you guys. Anyhow, good luck with your races tonight. Hope they go well. Hope you don't get any penalties that take away a lot of time of your race. Save tires, stay safe, keep distance, keep social distancing, keep virtual distancing if so you don't get any penalties. Virtual distancing equals no penalties, remember that. Very important tip. You heard it first from Nick Makozi, so I'm going to copyright that. Virtual distancing equals no penalties. GD Sport logic right there for you guys. So yeah, like I said, stay safe, keep clean, and I hope I see you guys around in the next stream. Until next time, driving with the best.